Hi there, I'm Wally Wilson with Remax Centx, and this is one of our partners.
Israel, Ramirez with Rmortgage.
And we were here today just talking about the market. Daryl, you've been working with us in making us aware, being able to communicate with some of our clients. And so Israel and I, we always talk 2-3 times a week, just trying to get a feel of what's going on. So this morning we were up here and we did a little video a little bit earlier, and we were talking about market trends. But you can tell since 2009 we did about 1,700 units. This year we doubled it. But what has happened, and we've taken a little bit of a dip in the market. Sure. And so I was visiting a little bit with Israel, and what's your take on that, Israel? Do you have a feel for maybe what's going on?
Well, the issue that I see as far as the dip that you're referring to is more due to the rise in interest rates. I mean, they took a pretty big jump from one day to another. I mean,
well, tell us, now wait, when you say a pretty big jump, how big a jump?
It took about the initial jump was about a half a point.
Okay.
And that was just in a 2-day span. Within the following week after that, it took yet about another half a jump.
So we were looking at rates at about 3.5%, and they jumped up to
about 4.5%.
Okay, so yeah. We saw about a 20% increase in rates.
Right.
Wow.
And so I would say that the dip that you're referring to probably had a little bit to do with that. But the market had been going pretty heavy for the first quarter of the year. And then all of a sudden, these rates jump up. People were, going on vacation, doing their stuff during the summer months.
Right.
And so a lot of times folks are thinking, well, they want to try to get into a house, but all of a sudden they hear, hey, rates jumped up. See, rates have been so low for so long. I mean, they've been low for, gosh, the last 2 years they've been in the threes. And so it was inevitable that they were going to jump up. But I think the average consumer is seeing that the rates have been low for that long, and they're thinking, oh, it'll probably come back. So let's maybe put it off a little bit. Let's do some stuff. But
and that makes sense because we talked about it earlier this morning in the other video. Look, in that we came out in January and this thing took off like a rocket.
Sure.
And so it really, in my opinion, it was overheated, way above the market trend coming out of a slow market. And you know what? It was those low rates, and I think everybody woke up. That makes sense. Well, we felt the same thing, Daryl, but it's the first time I really kind of took a look at the charts and visited with you specifically about what happened.
Well, one thing you're not seeing on that chart is the previous year, like the end of the previous year. Actually, you kind of are right here, but as you were heading into November, December, and into January, we were seeing one of the highest flow markets that we've seen in a long time for those months.
Okay.
And so it almost
which would indicate people and your businesses sometimes prior to when we feel it, because we've always sent them into you. That's one of the things we do. Israel Partners really good with us, and we send them into you first thing before we ever go out looking for houses. And so you're anywhere from 3 to 4 months ahead of when they actually write the offer.
Right. And so we were seeing a good heavy flow starting like October, November, December, when it's usually actually tapering down. And usually January is when it dips the lowest. But this past year, we were seeing a good flow going into January, February, March. So I think it peaked early, and that's why you see a little bit of dip there. But those interest rates are having a big.
Okay, so here's a $1 million question.
Sure.
Everybody asks you all the time. What do you think rates are going to do?
Well, actually, as of today, the Fed is supposed to make an announcement today as to whether they're going to stop buying these mortgage-backed securities and these toxic assets that these banks are holding. They're supposed to make a speech today. I don't know if it's gone down yet or not, but that's supposed to have an impact. Back about a month ago, when they took that big jump, the Fed just basically announced and said that they were going to stop easing. They were going to stop doing that. Back in, that we would stop doing it as of September, or that they would stop doing it as of September. Then he came back a couple of weeks after that and said, well, wait a minute. The economy's not doing as good as we thought, so we may ease it. It just all going to depend on the job market and how many jobs are created.
That announcement's today.
Right, the real estate market, how that's doing. And so all that stuff's going to kind of play into whether they stop buying those mortgage.
Okay, so I got it. What you need to do is tune in with us next week.
Yeah.
And Israel will give us the answers. But there's a lot of stuff going on. All I can say is you need to get in, we need to get pre-qualified, and we need to start looking at some houses that fit your criteria.
Well, at the end of the day, next year, it's not gonna. I mean, rates are gonna. They're gonna jump.
So you need to get going now.
Yeah.
And all I can say is Wally Wilson, Rmortgage, Centx.